Hello, everybody, and welcome to College Basketball Courtside. My name is Mitch, and here I'm going to cover everything college basketball related. Today, I'm going to be announcing my preseason top 10 players in the Big Ten for this upcoming 2025-2026 season. I'll share player stats, last year accolades, some of their strengths, and some of their weaknesses for this upcoming year. So let's get right into it, starting with number 10, Tucker DeVries, a guard from Indiana, coming over from West Virginia, and previously before that was over at Drake. He's 6'7", 220. This is his final year. And last season he averaged 14.9 points, 4.9 rebounds, 2.8 assists. And there you can see all the shooting percentages, really lit it up from three in his 8 games at West Virginia. And then some of the accolades he had for his last season at Drake. Again, he only played 8 games at West Virginia, so going to cover his Drake accolades, his final season there. He was the Mountain Valley Conference Player of the Year. He was an honorable mention All-American. He averaged 21 points per game in his last season with Drake, and he was obviously Mountain Valley first team. A couple of his strengths is his three-point shooting. He is an absolute sniper from three. He has such a pretty jump shot, and while it takes a little longer for him to get it off, he is 6'7". He has a 220-pound frame. As a shooting guard, he usually plays in the backcourt, and he has unlimited range. So that slow release isn't too much of an issue, and with that size, he can get it off over just about anybody. And his second strength, again, as I mentioned, that positional size of his, it brings so many matchup issues with smaller guards trying to guard him all the way out, 30 feet from the hoop, and he could just post them up if they are too small. One other thing he's really good at is rebounding. He has good instincts as a guard, using his size to grab rebounds. Hopefully he can continue that over at Indiana. And his fourth strength, he's just a bucket. He's your typical bucket, relies on a lot of jumpers, has some trouble getting to the hoop and blowing by some guys, which we'll get into with his weaknesses, but he is an absolute bucket through and through. Such a pretty jump shot, and he's going to put up a lot of points this year, but does have a few weaknesses, one of them being his explosiveness. We'll see playing in the Big Ten. He's not playing those inferior opponents like he was at Drake. We'll see how he handles Big Ten defenses. His lateral quickness also suffers. Let's see how he can guard Big Ten guards. And that leads to the third weakness, just his defense in general. Can he stop Big Ten? Can he stop SEC guards, from getting to the hoop or getting whatever they want? We'll see how he fares there. And he doesn't really have a blow-by ability. Even against the Mountain Valley, he was struggling to get by guys, but he does have such a nice jumper that he doesn't really have to, but we'll see how that works in the Big Ten this year. But that's Tucker DeVries coming at number 10. Number 9 is Nick Martinelli, the forward from Northwestern. This is his final year as well. He's also 6'7", 220 pounds. Last season, he averaged 20.5 points per game, which led the Big Ten. Averaged 6.2 rebounds, 1.7 assists. You can see the shooting percentages there. Not great three-point shooting, just above 30%, and then a little low for the free throw percentage at 72.8. He also only averaged 0.9 stocks, so steals and blocks combined, which is the lowest on this list. That's not good at all, considering he does have such a big frame and he played a ton of minutes to only have 0.9 combined steals and blocks. But last year, he was the Big Ten leading scorer at 20.5 points per game. He was all Big Ten second team. Northwestern had a pretty good regular season, coming in at 22-13. They did have some good talent with Barnheiser as well, who's now in the Warriors. Another NBA player. I expect Martinelli to see some good NBA time. But a couple of the strengths that Martinelli brings is his finishing around the rim. He's a big physical guy. He's left-handed, uses that left hand really well. He can finish with his right hand also. He has a really nice mid-range jumper. He's physical. He's big. If you put a big guy on him, he does have enough quickness and enough moves with the ball to blow by him. And then if you put a smaller guy on him, he's just going to post him up and absolutely dominate him there. And he has a ton of hustle and a ton of motor. This guy leads by example. His teammates love playing with him. But A couple of his weaknesses are his playmaking. He only averaged 1.7 assists last year. Again, playing a ton of minutes and having the ball in his hand a lot. And this year, he should up his playmaking and those assist numbers. With Northwestern, I don't think it will be as good this year. They don't have as much talent, so he's going to see a lot of double teams. He really needs to focus on being able to pass out of those and increase his playmaking numbers. He needs to also get a little better shooting the three at a high volume. Again, only 33.3% from the three-point line last season. So let's see if he can jump that this year. That'd be really nice for his development. His defense in general, he needs to improve on. Being the best player on a team, you have to be able to lock in defensively and want to guard, one of their best players, if not one of their top 2 or 3 best players. He just does not do that right now. And his explosiveness in general. He's not a great vertical athlete, not very fast, but he does have enough quickness to get by. Well, that's number 9, Nick Martinelli. Coming in at number 7, number 8, Andrei Stojakovic, forward from Illinois. He is also 6 feet 7 inches tall, 205-pound junior, coming over from Cal. He started his college career at Stanford, had a pretty solid freshman season there, transferred to Cal, and he really took off last season. Averaged 17.9 points, 4.7 rebounds, 1.8 assists. One thing you'll see, only 31.8% from the three-point line, but he did up his free throw percentage by 30% from his time at Stanford to his time last year at Cal, which is absolutely insane. He didn't have many attempts at Stanford, but it is really cool to see his progression at the free throw line, and hopefully we can see another jump in his three-point percentage next year as well at Illinois. And then he also did average about 1.2 blocks a game, 0.8 steals, so he has good instincts defensively. He was all ACC honorable mention for a Cal team last year that was not very good during the regular season, so would love to see some more team success. But some of his strengths include scoring instinct. He is the son of a former NBA All-Star, Peja Stojakovic. He was an absolute sniper, and Andrei Stojakovic, if you watch him play, you can see that his dad, definitely played in the NBA. He has really good IQ. He's really good at cutting. He has great off-ball movement. Has good defensive awareness. You can tell he just has a high IQ in general. And then another one of his strengths is his shot blocking, for a forward position. But he does have some pretty glaring weaknesses. One being the playmaking. That's something that we've seen on this list so far is, people who score a lot but don't have that playmaking instinct. He does not have that right now as well. Hopefully on a better Illinois team where he's not asked to carry such a heavy load, he'll be able to up his playmaking statistics, but we'll see this year. Again, didn't have a ton of team success at Stanford his freshman year. Not a lot either at Cal last year. So hopefully, again, on a better Illinois team, we can see some of that. His strength needs to improve. He has a pretty wiry frame. He's long. He's athletic, but we need to add some strength to that. And then the three-point shooting. Again, only 31.8% last year. Really needs to see that number rise for him to end up higher on this list come end of the year. But coming in at number 7, John Blackwell, a guard for Wisconsin, standing 6'4", 204 pounds. This is his junior year. He's the youngest player on this list, which is crazy, with all the freshmen. We have a lot of talented freshmen coming in the Big Ten this year, but John Blackwell is the youngest player on this list. He's a junior. Last season, he averaged 15.8 points, 5 rebounds, 2.2 assists, shot at 45% from the field, just over 30% from 3, 81% at the line. He was all Big Ten honorable mention. A big strength of his is his year-to-year improvement. From his freshman year to his sophomore year, we saw a ton of improvement. We're going to see another big jump this year, John Tonji leaving. He averaged 20 points per game for the Badgers last season, and now Blackwell has a chance to step into that lead guard role. He played point guard last year, which I think is a little out of position for him, but now he can play a true shooting guard. He's the guy. He's going to have the ball. I think that's going to be so good for him that he can get all the shots that he wants. And I think he's going to be a 20-plus point per game guy. He could lead the Big Ten in scoring this year. Another strength of his, he is great finishing around the rim. His two-point shooting, his shot making is very impressive, and his rebounding for his position is also very impressive, coming at 5 rebounds a game. But some of his weaknesses, again, the playmaking. He played out of position last year, so he was asked to do a lot of the playmaking he's not used to, coming in at 2.2 assists a game. And then, like I was mentioning, with John Tonji being on the team last year, he was never quite the guy. So we'll see how he fares this year, where the best defender is going to be guarding him. He's going to get all the defensive attention that John Tonji was getting. We'll see how he handles all that pressure. And then his defense, he just needs to become an all-conference defender to move higher up on this list by the end of the season. But look for John Blackwell to have an awesome year at Wisconsin. They're going to be much improved, I think. Coming in at number 6 is the big man from Oregon, Nate Biddle, standing 7 feet tall, 220-pound senior. Last season, he had the best season of his career by far, averaged 14.2 points, 7.6 rebounds, 1.9 assists. Shot about 51% from the field, 81% from the line, and over 2 blocks per game. He was third team All Big Ten, and he was a top 5 finalist for the Kareem Award, best center in the country. He had a really good year his sophomore season. He only played a few games before getting hurt, and then freshman year, he didn't quite start. So we didn't see the playing time as much his freshman year. He was McDonald's All-American, so he was a highly touted recruit. But last year, we got to see his full potential. Had an awesome season, and I think he's having an even better one next year. Some of his strengths, his shot blocking and his length. He is an absolute monster. About a 7'6" wingspan. At 7 feet tall, he's absolutely massive. Has great shot blocking instincts. He's going to probably lead the Big Ten shot blocking this year again. He has solid guard skills as well. He can pass. He can dribble a little bit when needed. He doesn't catch it and then freeze like a lot of big men. He does have some pretty solid guard skills. He's an awesome roll man, probably one of the best roll man in the Big Ten. Set screens, and he's a huge target to lob it up there to dunk on somebody. And then his improved three-point shooting year to year has also been good, and I think he's having a really good year from 3 as well. He has pretty good mechanics. Some of his weaknesses, though, is his shooting percentage for a big man that doesn't take a lot of tough shots. He only shot about 51%, which is concerning. Would like to see that percentage be a little bit higher, in the mid-50s or higher 50s preferred. He needs to put on some more muscle and some more strength. His post-up game, he doesn't really have a back-to-basket game unless it's a smaller defender, but he's not really going to shake a big guy out of his shoes when he's down there. And he also has pretty little self-creation, and that is what holds him back from being higher on this list, is a lot of his buckets come from being the roll man. It comes on being dependent from mostly Jackson Shellstead, the point guard for Oregon. So it really, they having a good game. What happens if he gets hurt? Is Biddle still going to produce at a high level? We'll see. But look for Nate Biddle to have a great year. But coming in at number 5, probably my favorite player personally and who I'm most excited to see this year is Donovan Dent, point guard for UCLA. He's coming over from New Mexico, a couple seasons over there. He won the Mountain West Player of the Year last year, averaged 20.4 points, 2.3 rebounds, 6.4 assists, shot a staggering 49% from the field. As somebody who shot as many times as he did and got the defensive attention he did, and a guard to shoot 49% is absolutely crazy. He shot 41% from 3 and had about 2.3 stocks per game. Again, he was the Mountain West Player of the Year, first team Mountain West, honorable mention All-American, and was a Bob Cousy top 5 finalist for best point guard in the country. Some of his strengths, if you watch him play, he provides constant rim pressure. He's always getting to the hoop, always blowing by guys, which ties into the next 2 strengths of his. He has great finishing touch with his right hand, with his left hand. He constantly is at the rim, finishing or dropping off to teammates. He's a top-level athlete. He has great bounce, great quickness and speed, great balance. He's just an offensive hub, and he's impossible to stay in front of, but does have some weaknesses. His three-point shooting, yes, he shot at 41%, but less than 2 attempts per game. So we'll see if he adds more three-point volume. He doesn't have to as much because he gets to the rim so easily, but now he's in the Big Ten. He'll be playing tougher defenders, harder opponents. He needs to space them out with good three-point shooting. Has some turnovers just from having the ball in his hand a lot, and that goes with the shot selection as well that he struggles with. At times, he can play some hero ball and take some pretty bad shots. And then defensive intensity. He's asked to do a ton on offense. He's asked to do probably everything on offense. He just needs to up his defensive intensity, but look for Donovan Dent to have a great year. Again, one of my favorite players in the entire country next season. But coming in at number 4 is Trey Kaufman-Renn, TKR, power forward for Purdue, entering his final season with Purdue. He's been there his whole college career, which has been awesome. He's played behind some unreal big men, and Zach Edey at Purdue. And last year he had his best year. Averaged 20.1 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 2.2 assists. Shot at 60% from the field, just about 42.9% from three, 65% from the free throw line, and about 1 stock per game. He was first team All Big Ten, honorable mention All-American, and a top 5 finalist for the Karl Malone Best Power Forward in the Country award. He was absolutely dominant for Purdue last season, just a force in the middle. Yes, he did shoot the 3-point ball at 42.9%. However, less than 1 attempt per game. That's not his game. He is not a 3-point shooter. Don't let that percentage fool you. He does all of his work inside. Jump hooks with either hand, finishing, taking smaller defenders off the dribble, and using his great size and strength. He is very impressive inside, and that goes to show his strengths. Interior offense, strength, high motor, and then consistent improvement year over year. He really learned a lot, I think, with Zach Edey was there, and last season upped his points per game by about 13 to 14 points per game, which is absolutely crazy. I think this year he'll probably be around 20 points per game, maybe even a little less, with Purdue bringing in some good talent and a good big man at Huff playing the center position next to him. But he is their go-to scoring option, playing with Braden Smith. He gets a lot of good looks from him, but what he needs to improve on to be higher on this list come into the season is his perimeter defense. He has pretty slow feet, kind of got some cement feet at times. His shot blocking, being 6'9", 220 pounds, and he's a good athlete. He's got good muscle on him. He should be a better defender than he is. His three-point shooting needs to improve. His free throw percentage needs to improve as well. But I really see him having a great year this year at Purdue. Now, coming in at number 3 is Bennett Sturtz, point guard from Iowa. Another transfer coming over from Drake. Actually, he follows his head coach, Ben McCollum, over to Iowa because they had an awesome season at Drake. He averaged last year 19.2 points, 4.3 rebounds, 5.7 assists. Shot at 49.8% from the field, 39.5% from 3, 79% from the free throw line, 2.4 stocks per game. He was the Mountain Valley Player of the Year, first team Mountain Valley, honorable mention All-American. Bennett Sturtz had an awesome season last year. Drake had a great first game in the tournament. They bounced. Missouri had a big upset over Missouri. He had 21 points in that game. He's an absolute stud. He comes over to Iowa. He's going to be the offensive engine. They take a lot of threes. They make a lot of threes, and he'll be the biggest catalyst of that. That's his number one strength, his three-point shooting. He shot at 39.5% last year. Look for him to stay around that number, maybe dip a little bit, but maybe more volume this year. Look for his assists to go up this year, playing with a better team. He has elite field goal percentage for a guard. He shot it at just under 50%. When he doesn't have that dime-and-dent explosiveness, so that just goes to show you his floater game, which is one of his strengths, and just his craftiness on the inside, and his shot-making ability is top-notch, All-American level. He's also a great playmaker. He'll probably be top 5 in the Big Ten in assists, maybe even top 3. With Braden Smith and Dime-and-dent, I think will be a little higher than him, but look for him to have an awesome year. A couple of his weaknesses, his strength, his high-level defense. He hasn't played in the Big Ten. He only has played in the Mountain Valley Conference, and before that, he was playing D2. So we'll see how he can handle Big Ten defenders game in and game out. But I think he'll have an awesome year. He doesn't have that explosiveness, but he has that great finishing touch and that great shooting ability to kind of help him out there. But coming in at number 2 for best players in the Big Ten for this next season, Yaxel Lendenborg, power forward from Michigan. He's 6'9", 220 pounds. He's a grad transfer from UAB. And I think he's going to have his best season yet with the Wolverines. Last year, he averaged 17.7 points, 11.4 rebounds, 4.2 assists. He shot it at 52.2% from the field, 35.7% from 3, and 75.7% from the line, and had 3.5 stocks per game, which is tied for best on this list. Last year at UAB, he won the AAC Defensive Player of the Year. He was first team All-AAC, top 5 in the country in rebounding. He was top 5 for the Karl Malone power forward finalist list. He was top 5 finisher in that. And a couple of his strengths, his interior defense. He's an absolute monster. He has great length, great strength, and he's an awesome athlete as well. He will be one of the best defenders in the Big Ten. He'll be Michigan's best defender. His rebounding is top-notch. He has skills. He has physical size. He's an awesome athlete. And then also secondary playmaking. You can see that he averaged 4.2 assists for a UAB team that doesn't have the talent level that this Michigan team will have. I think Michigan should have an awesome year this year. But, transferring from UAB, he decided to stay in college. He had a chance to go in the draft and probably be a first-round pick, but lucky Michigan, he stays, and he's going to have an awesome year. A couple of his weaknesses, his perimeter defense, he kind of has those slow feet, that cement feet like Trey Kaufman runs, so he kind of needs to pick up his foot speed a little bit, but I think he will. And then, again, with some of these other guys who are transferring to a bigger school, coming from UAB, you're playing inferior competition. You're not playing Big Ten every single game. You're not playing SEC in your non-conference or the ACC. So we'll see how he fares day in and day out with better opponents. But coming in at number 1 should be no surprise for the best player in the Big Ten this year. I think it's going to be Braden Smith, point guard from Purdue. He's in his final season. He turned down some monster NIL offers to go play elsewhere. I think I saw he was offered about $8.5 million to go play at a few other colleges, but he decided to stay at Purdue for one final season. Last year, he averaged 15.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, 8.7 assists. And then he shot it about 43% from the field, 38% from 3, 83% from the line, averaged 2.4 stocks per game. He was the Big Ten Player of the Year, the Bob Cousy Award winner for best point guard in the country, first team All-American, first team All-Big Ten. He had a terrific season last year. Purdue was super successful, and he was the engine for that entire team on the offensive end, on the defensive end. He's the best playmaker in the country now with Nembhard gone from Gonzaga. So he should lead the country in assists. If not, he'll be top 3 in the country in assists. And that is his number 1 strength, is his playmaking and also his pick and roll decision making. Once he gets you in a pick and roll, he's either going to get you on his hip and put you in jail, and he's either going to pass to Trey Kaufman run. He has Lawyer in the corner to knock down some threes. He has that mid-range fadeaway jumper that he hits a lot. He is an absolute demon in the pick and roll. He is so hard to guard. A couple of other strengths include his leadership ability. Again, he's been with Purdue for years. He's led them to a ton of successful seasons, and they'll have another really successful season this year. I think they should finish first in the Big Ten. They'll be a top 5 team in the country all year. So look for him to have an awesome year with Purdue. He's a great 3-point shooter, but he does have a couple weaknesses. He has an unproven takeover ability. He can be a little too passive at times where he kind of needs to take over himself. He's had great players on his team, but he needs to be the guy at times. He struggles with athletic defenders. He lacks that high-end burst and that high-end size. He's only about 6 foot, 180 pounds, so he's not very big, but he has awesome instincts and awesome skill level. Again, he has NBA-level skills, and his high-volume scoring, I think he needs to just improve a little bit to be higher in this list come end of the season. 15.8 points is good when you're averaging 9 assists a game, but I think he can average even more, get some more shots up. But look for him to have an awesome season with Purdue. But that is the top 10 players in the Big Ten going into this next season. I think the Big Ten is loaded with talent this year. They're going to be one of the best conferences in the country this year, and they have a ton of talent. But this is College Basketball Courtside. I'm Mitch, and thanks for watching.